Nearly started without recording. That would have been shocking. Okay, so we're gonna go into the process of creating. And we've all done this, but we haven't actually thought about it and the process of it. Because, and we've all, like, I know both of you have done this really easily, and especially when we're excited about it, and especially when we know what we're doing, and like everything falls into place, especially if you're a good manifester, especially that. But what I want to do is actually break it down so that you logically understand the steps. And then you start to go, okay, what am I missing if this isn't working? Like, am I missing a step? Am I doing one of these things that then I can change and counter so that then I can get into aligned action? Does that make sense at all? Okay. So I posted the post in the group today about neuroplasticity, far easier to type than write or say. But the idea that our brains, that idea that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that's bullshit. But if we think like that, if we think that, you know, I only know what I know, and that I can't do anything more, or I'm not going to learn anything more, or I'm not going to experience anything more, we get into that fixed mindset of we know what we know and that's it. But actually understanding that our brain is always changing, and as we learn, it changes with us. And as we shift and change into new experiences, taking new actions, all of this stuff, it creates new pathways. So Gwen, I'm going to do a little nature picture for you so you get it. So think about a forest, okay? And this forest has pathways going through it, and you follow the pathways and you see certain things, and you're like, okay, it gets me from A to B. That's what I want it to do. So that is what your brain is. Your brain, from the age of like probably 2 or 3 all the way up to now, has been creating all these pathways through this forest. And the ones that get you to A to B the quickest is the ones you use most. And every now and again, maybe you might take the scenic route, or you might go to your friend's house, which is on the way to the exit or whatever. But there's certain pathways that you will use all the time. So this is what our beliefs do. Our beliefs create these neural pathways, and we follow them. And we don't question them. We don't go off piste. We just go, okay, this gets me to where I want to go. I'm good with that. The problem is that there probably is better ways, or you want to start going in a different direction, or you want to take a completely different route, totally off piste, and want to create your new pathway. You want to be a trailblazer. And then your brain goes, but we have no pathways for that. So we can either say, okay, then that means I have to stick to the pathways that I know, or you start creating some new pathways. And the more you use them, the more you start to understand that when you use them, they start becoming your new pathways, and they're your new A to B, and the old pathways start being overgrown because you're not using them anymore. And that is the belief that you can leave behind and let them be overgrown and forget about them, because now you're using new pathways. Does that make sense? I had to get the forest and the pathways for it to sink into my brain. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today, about how we start creating something new that we want. So for Rachel, that will be your retreat. And Gwen, that will be doing your journals and maybe writing a book and all of that kind of good stuff. So our brain will go, but I've never done that before. I don't have a pathway for it. And so then that's why we kind of start, like, you know, being the hamster on the wheel, because we'll only get a certain like distance away from our comfort zone, and then we'll go, oh shit. And all of your beliefs are going, but there's all these pathways that you can take. And we're like, oh, which one do I take? Do I go somewhere I've never been before, or do I take this pathway? And then we take the pathway and we end up coming back around to where we started. Making sense, ladies? Okay, so I'm going to give you the steps, and then we're going to break them down, and then you can ask questions as we go along, because I really want you to get this straight in your head, because once you get it in your head, you'll go, oh, right, now I see. Rachel, this is just like manifesting on steroids. And I know you're an amazing manifester. So I don't want you to overthink this, but there could be somewhere where you can fucking like supercharge it. Okay, so step one, choose what you want to create. So nothing like difficult there. But when you choose what you want to create, it isn't about fixing a problem. Because we talked about this at the very beginning. If you're in that problem fixing structure, then all you want to do is just find an answer to something that will just fix that immediate problem. But we don't want to be in that structure at all, because you cannot create and manifest to your best abilities in that structure. So when you want to create something in that like lights you up, that fires you up, that makes you like really, 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 really want it, then you need to be in that creative structure. We're going to break this down as we go through this, okay? So it's about having a picture in your head, playing it out in your head, feeling the emotions of it, like all the colors, all the feelings, all the vibrations, whatever it is that really helps you create that picture, the end result. Not getting there, but the end result. How is it going to feel to you? Why are you doing it? Why do you want to create it? Is it just because it's really fucking exciting? Is it because you want to serve people in a bit different way? Is it because you want to just create something for the fun of it? Play. You've never experienced it before and you want to experience it. Step number 2 is step into the real emotions of the end result. So like, will you be feeling like you're standing in your power? Will you be doing a happy dance? Will you have the biggest smile on your face? Who will be around you? What will you be wearing? Like paint those pictures of everything about how you are going to feel. Are you still going to be excited? Step number 3 is create a tension releasing structure. So that's what we're talking about by stepping out of trying to fix a problem and stepping into that creation structure. And we'll, as I said, we're going to break this down a little bit further along the lines. So we don't want your brain going, I don't know what that means. But yes, Rachel.
Did you just say create a tension releasing structure?
Yes. So okay. I'm going to explain that.
Okay.
Okay. So number 4 is unplug from your old identity. And this is the part where a lot of us don't. That's why we can't do any big manifesting, because we are still in that place of believing who we are is maybe small or insignificant, or that we're not powerful enough, or that we're not good enough, or that we don't matter, and all of those things. So this is the part where a lot of us miss it, is to unplug from our old identity. And how we do that is we plug into our intuition. And then number 5 is take aligned action. So that's with whether you're feeling good, feeling excited, you're following your intuition, you're like being open-minded and using your awareness and looking for the signs, whether you're taking a leap of faith, all of those things. And as I said, we're going to just break these all down as we go through this call. But this is the steps that I really want you to pay attention to, because if you're like wanting to create that lovely, amazing big thing that you've been after for such a long time and it's not working, then there's something missing from these steps. And the likelihood is it's probably the unplug from your old identity. Chase him away. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to take questions yet because I'm going to break this down a little bit. Then we'll ask questions, because then we can start like going where you really, your brain's going, hold on. Okay. So what we're going to do is I want you to follow through with this, in the idea that when we're in this place of trying to fix problems, when we're in this place of problem solving and avoiding things that we don't want to experience, then this is where we try to manifest things. We try to create things, but it's like that elastic band. It's like we only get so far, and then it's like snap back. So it's like 5 steps forward, 1,000,000 steps back. Or it feels like that. So this is where we get to decide that we're not going to live in those 10-year-old belief systems and fears anymore. And we're actually going to be grown-ups. And we're going to take responsibility, but we're also going to take our fucking power back. Okay. So this is where we're going to go. Number 1, choose what you want to create. That's pretty simple. You have to have that vision first. Because if you don't have that vision first, then what are you moving towards? You can't be in that creative structure if you're not creating something, because otherwise then you're just problem solving. So I want to just talk quickly about the idea of being in that problem solving structure in regards to what we're not seeing. So I want you to visualize a racetrack and all of these like really mad, crazy bands. I'm sure you've all seen like some kind of racing at some point, like, you know, fast cars and all the rest. And somebody walks up to you and says, right, there's a Ferrari or there's a Lamborghini. I want you to get in and I want you to go as fast as you can around the racetrack. But there's going to be barriers and there's going to be walls at all the corners. But I want you to do like your best time ever. So you're either going to get into the car and drive like your fastest, because you're just like, I'm going to beat everybody. Or you're going to get in and you're going to go, okay, I have to drive safely and I have to drive where I'm in control, because I know there's a wall coming up and a bend coming up and I could die. Because the walls are those wounds and those fears. So whenever we have them in the back of our minds, we're putting all our energy into seeing walls in front of us, the potential walls, even if they're not there, the potential walls, instead of having fun, instead of trying to beat our best personal time, instead of going, holy fuck, I'm in a bloody race car. This is awesome. Are you getting what I'm trying to explain here, ladies? Okay. And the other side of this is whenever you decide, I'm going to just enjoy the ride. I'm going to like race the car. I'm going to like get a thrill out of this and be able to have that experience. This is where you get to trust yourself. This is where you get to trust your own skills. This is where you get to decide, you know what? I've been driving for like 20 years. Of course I can do this. Instead of going, I've never driven this type of car, or on a racetrack, so I don't know anything. Can you see how we can sabotage ourselves? Okay. Any questions so far, my loves? You can unmute yourselves.
I did have, can you guys hear me?
Hold on a wee second, Malka, because I'm... Go ahead.
Oh, well, I did have a question, but now, of course, it's completely escaping me.
That's okay, it'll come back, I'm sure.
I hope so.
Okay, shall we move on, ladies? Right. So, let's get into the idea of how we shift into that creative mode and how we start creating and stop avoiding things. And I know that I've explained this before in the other modules and probably the other calls too, but this is always good to repeat because I want you to remember that there is these 3 different parts that you have access to, but a lot of the times we're only using one. So we have the unconscious, which is that place where it's our survival. It's where all our fears and our behaviors and our wounds live. And our unconscious is limited. It's limited to what we've experienced and how we have created that focus and that our own lens on how we see the world and how we think the world works. Okay. Then we have our self-conscious, which is us here in our own awareness. And our self-conscious is in this place where it's like, I do know how the world works and I want to experience all these new things. So your unconscious is all the things you've already experienced, and that includes your trauma and all the rest. And your self-conscious is where you're going, okay, I want to make more money. I want to find the love of my life. I want to like be a best-selling author. I want to have the most awesome whatever. And whenever we're in this place of creating, and we find that we kind of go back, we can only get so far, and we get that snapback, we get the ping. It's because we have our unconscious, which is our identity, saying, but when I'm over there in my desired reality, who will I be? Will I be safe? Even if I'm rich, will I be safe? Who'll be surrounding me? Who'll be supporting me? Who'll be... And so it creates so many questions that it's safer to be back into what we know, even if that sucks and we don't want to be there. Then the third one is our superconscious, which is our higher self, our intuition, our connection to source. And that's limitless. So our unconscious is limited, and our superconscious or our higher self and intuition is limitless. It's connected to the all, the everything, answers to anything, inspiration. Like, you think about, you know, somebody who wants to write a song. You can either think from your conscious mind and play around with it for like years, or you can just tap into source and let it drop down. How many like singer-songwriters do you hear talking about that? Even authors. And it's the exact same for us because we all have intuition. So our unconscious is the automatic pilot. That's the paths that are already used in the forest. Our self-conscious is the part of us that wants to create and experience everything, do everything, know everything. And those paths can go anywhere. And then our superconscious is the part of us that can tell us what's the best path to get to a certain place, what to avoid, what to make sure that we don't miss, so that we can create that, whether it's the experience, whether it's the end result, whatever it is. But we can either go like circle the forest 5 times, or we can use our intuition to get us there in like half the time and experience all the things while we're going there. Does that make sense? Yes, let's have questions. Rachel.
Okay, so if it's unconscious, by nature, we're not going to know when we're doing it. So how do we put a check in there? Like, how do we get you out of the computer and into our living room so you could like kick me in the ass or pinch me when I'm doing it? How do you gain that consciousness?
Right. So we're going to start practicing that today, and I'm going to start teaching you how to do that. And like anything else, it's about creating that pathway so that you start using it more and more and more. Because as you said, if you're not aware of it and you don't see it, you're like, well, what the fuck am I meant to do? So we have to consciously start creating it. And we also then have to start trusting into our superconscious and our higher self. And then we have to create that, what you were asking me about, the tension releasing structure. That tension releasing structure is, so let's say this is your current reality and this is your desired reality. And in your current reality, you feel like you are wounded, or that you're powerless, and that you're in scarcity, and that you are stuck. And in your desired reality, you're going, when I get here, I'm going to be whole and I'm going to be healed. When I get here, I am going to be abundant. When I am here, I am going to be powerful. When I'm here, I am going to be like in flow. I'm going to have all the freedom that I want. I'm going to have all the money that I want. And I want you to feel into the dissonance between this current reality and the desired reality, because there has to be huge changes if you are going to get from one to the other. Because you're saying, I'm going to be somebody different. And in fact, everything's going to be different in my desired reality. So that idea of being emotionally aligned with what you want, can you see how it conflicts with your identity, with who, if you're listening to all your wounds and all your beliefs right now, how it's going to be really difficult to create this, and why we might take a whole lifetime to try and get that thing, and we might not ever get it because it's not aligned with who we think we are right now, which is why I gave you that list of the beliefs, the wounds. Does that make sense, Gwen?
It makes sense, but back to the, okay, now what then?
Yeah.
Like, I get that I have dreams and goals and realities I want.
Yes.
And I'm still going to be my fucked up self with my crazy family and my clutter when I get there. That I get. So how do I still kick my bullshit and get there?
Yes. So this is one of the things that we really have to look at, and we have to get really honest with ourselves as well, okay? Because I want you to feel into the idea that, and you probably heard this from a lot of people who kind of like, make millions and all the rest. One of the things they'll tell you is that money doesn't change you. You're going to be the exact same person you are now, but you'll just have more money. And your brain goes,
Well-
what? I don't have to fix anything? Go on.
I said, that's fine. So how do I get there? Having had the card that was declined at the dentist yesterday, how do I get there?
We're getting there. Okay. So we've already talked about your identity, your unconscious identity, and where you want to be. So whenever we're in this place of all your wounds, you're avoiding something. You don't want to either experience something again, you don't want to be around and have the same kind of right. We talked about this last training, I think it was, where I think it was Malka, you were saying about, I know for myself it's the same as well. Let's talk about how we avoid conflict. So those things that you're avoiding and we do our best to avoid doesn't mean that they won't come into your life. So toxic people. Let's talk about if you're focusing on that you want to make money, but you're trying to fix the problem that you're broke. Are you going to come across being broke more often? And this is the thoughts. This is the belief systems I want you to think about. I want you to feel into the idea of, if I feel powerless and that's who my identity is, what am I going to sabotage to continue to feel powerless? And we get back into that place again of going, ah, fuck, I'm here again. Is that making sense, Gwen? I see Rachel nodding, going, fuck.
Oh, fuck, I'm here again. What?
Go on, Gwen.
No,
I
just
need this
tell
to
me what
sink
to
in
do, 'cause
because
I
it does.
don't
It takes,
feel
the brain
powerless.
does go like, we have to take responsibility, but it's an unconscious thing that we're doing. We have to see that it's the unconscious thing that keeps creating this. So our self-conscious goes, why is this happening? But our unconscious is going, because this is safe. I know it. We survived it. So that's why we keep doing it. It doesn't have to be pleasant. It doesn't have to be good. But your unconscious is your survival mechanism, and it has its own theory of how the world works. So it's going to stick to it no matter what. So we have these two parts of ourselves conflicting with each other, and it's not releasing the tension. All it's doing is going round in circles. Because you're trying to avoid something no matter how much you want it. So this is where I want you to understand that when we're really honest with ourselves and go, I really want this thing. Like, I want to do these retreats, say, Rachel. Or when I want to, like, be a bestseller with my journal. We can go out there and we can do our best and we can stay in this place of, so if we go into a wound of like, I'm not good enough or I don't matter, then we'll play small because we'll go, I'll tell friends and family about it. And I'll trust that they'll tell other people. And I'll only show up on social media a couple of times a week. And, so the whole idea of that identity is that you're not going to play full out and drive that car as fast as possible if you don't believe you're good enough, or if you don't believe that you're powerful enough to create it, or if you don't believe that, you can be abundant, then you'll go, I'm happy with selling 100 books instead of being a bestseller. Can you see where that self-sabotage goes? I'm aiming for right here, way right here. But when we're on our way there, those little patterns and belief systems go, don't go there. Don't say that. don't do that, because that's not a good thing. It's going to make you feel bad. It's going to disappoint you. It's going to, everything's going to crumble around you. And especially if you have wounds around being rejected or disappointing people or being like broke as fuck and being like, what do you call it? It'll come back to me. The words left my head. Fuck. Bankrupt. Then what tends to happen is that we'll sabotage ourselves until we end up being there because we don't see the pattern and the sabotage. Rachel, you had your hand up first.
I gotta be a pain in the ass about something, Bernie.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, you said all your wounds means you're avoiding something.
Yeah.
What if, and I think I speak for all of us here, what if our wounds, well, they're self-protective. What we're avoiding is being hurt in whatever way that is.
Yeah.
It's a self-protection. It's a coat of armor. For some of us empaths, it's a superpower.
Absolutely.
How you'd have to chop my arm off to make me put that down, I think, because it's so ingrained in my nervous system.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that, on how are we still safe?
This is the thing about whenever we are in that wounded state, is that the belief system is that we're gonna get hurt or wounded again. Even if we have the $1 million house, even if we have the love of our lives, even if we have the best-selling book, even if we have, so our identity and that unconscious self says, well, why do you want to go there then? Because this place where I am is safe. But what we have to do is step out of our identity, because these are the filters that we've created as well, Rachel. Because that fear of being hurt, it stops you from actually living your biggest, best life. All the things that you want, you won't get there in the way that you really want to get there, which is in flow and really easy and having fun and all the rest, because that little belief system back there is going to go, don't go there because you're going to get hurt. Don't go there because it's unknown and you don't know the people that's going to be there. Don't go there because if you become really like a public figure, then you're going to get hurt. It's like when people avoid conflict, and this is one of the things when you create your own business, usually the things that you are trying to avoid are like all the clients that come to you first. Right, Gwen? The ones that are the pain in the ass, the ones who will, like, you know, they want everything from you and they don't want to pay for it. They're the ones who like tell you that you're shit and that, you know, you're not worth the money. They're the ones, because it's all our fears, like looking back at us in our faces, and we're going, fuck, but is it true? Or is that just their wounds projecting back on us and triggering our wounds?
Who cares if I
Because
heard them
Rachel,
all?
what I'm saying is that it's not about, you don't have to leave your boundaries behind. And it's definitely about, you need to be in integrity with yourself and put yourself first. So the not being hurt part isn't about you not going and creating something amazing and building that house that you want and having all those animals and making people's lives amazing through the work that you do. Because if you give all your energy to that belief of, you know, you have to play it safe because then you won't get hurt, then you won't get to self-express in all the ways that you want to, Yes, you might get disappointed. Yes, you might fall over. Yes, you might fail, but you will also have experienced things that you'll never experience if you play it safe. In that identity of, I can't get hurt again. Does having the belief of I can't get hurt stop you from being hurt?
No, but I definitely know how to go out into the world and protect myself and the other and other people around me. I understand what you're saying about it doesn't mean you don't create boundaries, but I think for people who've had trauma and ever since they're little had people who overstepped boundaries, feeling like, okay, I can just go in the world and set some fucking boundaries. Like, not ingrained in me that that is safe or works. Yeah.
But we're not talking about other people, we're talking about you.
Yeah, okay. I hear you.
And you do have boundaries. And
yeah, I do.
This is the only way we know what's a boundary is when somebody oversteps it and we go, fuck, that's not happening again. There needs to be another boundary there.
Yeah. But that also makes you kind of retreat in your shell and put up your armor 10 times more, like that's never gonna fucking happen again. So that kind of makes me dig deeper into the
but
go in.
also you get to learn that, and this is where the intuition part comes in, Rachel, is that we can just bulldozer through life in regards to, this is what I want. So I want to create these retreats, but my logical brain says I need to know X, Y, Z. I have to have all of this time and all of this money and all of this knowledge and all of this. And can you see how hard it is to get to where you want to go when all you're relying on is your conscious, logical brain self? Or you can go, I want these amazing retreats. So now I'm going to actually step out of that identity that I have, and I'm going to do a little just exercise with you in a little second. And I want you then to go, I'm going to tune into my intuition. I'm going to just center myself. I'm going to like step into this place where I have that vision of what I want. I'm going to get into the excitement. I'm going to get into this. And whatever comes through, I'm taking that step no matter what. Do you think your intuition is going to hurt you? So this is the thing, is that you can still say yes or no to it. You have free will. But when all we're relying on is our own self-conscious and then the unconscious that we have no control over, we can only ever get so far. Because we're trying to outrun an identity that we won't let go of. Yeah. Yes,
Well,
Monica.
so I seem to recall at one point in the second module, you said that these wounds are never really going to go away. So, and also like, this conversation feels a little circular to me at this point.
Yeah.
Are you saying like, we just need to not go into the identity, the old identity? Like, I get the fact that there are all these.
Did you miss the very beginning where I gave you the 5 steps, Malka?
Yeah, I missed of this call. Yes, I missed the very, very beginning because yeah.
Okay. So the first 5 steps is about how to go into that creation mode and how to basically manifest on steroids. And
I'll write it up really quick and put it in the notes, Bernie.
Brilliant. So thank you, Rachel. But number 4 out of those 5 steps, Malka, is you have to unplug from your old identity.
Right.
So it means that you have to trust yourself. It means you have to tune into your intuition. It means you have to understand that, yes, those beliefs and those wounds are there, but also you are more than capable of creating something different. And so let's do a little exercise. So I want you to just tune into something that you want to create. It doesn't have to be huge right now. I just want you to tune into something that maybe you've been thinking about recently, or something you want to do, and you're feeling a little bit of resistance. You're kind of going, don't know, not sure what my next step is. You know, I'm feeling a little bit jittery. I don't know if I really should do it. Think of something right now that you want to do that feels like fun or feels a little bit exciting, but there's also energy there that you're like, dread, or I'm not sure I can do it, or I don't know if I want to do it. Okay, so just imagine one thing. And I want you now to just feel into, imagine that you have no past, like you just woke out of a coma. And I want you to think about that thing as you right here, right now, in this present moment, and who you are, and think about that thing and how does it feel? Anybody want to share how that feels with thinking that I have no history, no background, there's nothing behind me, it's just me right here in the now.
Well,
Gwen? Sorry, Malka, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if I had no past, then anything would be possible. I would just say, hey God, I would like you to rearrange the universe so this could happen. And then I would just expect that it would show up.
Yes. And that's what our beliefs and our wounds do, because we have all of this behind us going, this is how the world works. You have to believe us. And when it's not there, you go, fuck, anything's possible. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to try it anyway. Gwen? How does it feel for you?
I'm going to be totally honest. My brain is completely off topic because you triggered me down a different path.
Okay.
There's a great path, but I'm over here.
Okay, so let's think about this journal that you want to put out into the world and help so many people, Gwen.
Okay.
And you're thinking about all the things that is going on in your busy life, and all the things you have to do, and all the things, blah, 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 blah. And that's going to take a certain length of time. So I want you now to just pretend you woke out of a coma, and that you have no past, you have no responsibilities, you have nothing else to do, but think about this thing. And it's on its own singular thing of that you want to create it.
Yeah. Well, that
How
would
does
be
that
so
feel?
easy, because that's my big problem is I have 40,000 things going on at the same time. And I am working on getting rid of some of the 40,000, delegating some of the 40,000, and ignoring. That is
So
my
I want you
big
to
keep me slowed
understand, can
down.
you see
Pardon?
that it's just our brain putting all those other things in our way?
Yes and no. Some of them, yes. Other ones, like I have to feed the child. Uh, no,
Yes.
like some of them are just you've got to balance the things, and sometimes it becomes too much. And sometimes it is me going, fuck, I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh shit, I might cause more harm than good. Oh, well, this isn't as good as it could be, and the layout's weird, and I'm not an artist, and that's the bullshit side.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is that that is all of those sabotage and little voices that are telling us that all our ducks have to be in a row, that we have to be perfect, that, you know, being just found and somebody just like Oprah saying, look, this is Gwen's new journal, everybody needs to buy it, like, and you having a fucking meltdown. Like, this is all the things that go through our heads instead of going, I just want to go for that thing and experience it.
But I'm doing it. Slowly
Yeah.
but surely, with all my time constraints, it's getting done.
Yeah.
I
But
just
this is
uploaded
also
my
about
draft.
how can you get there more in flow and less without all the T-junctions and alternative paths and thinking, I have to go down there before I go down there. If we go back to the forest kind of analogy, and listening to and tuning into your intuition and saying, okay, this next step is about me doing this part, because what you don't know is that when you do that next part, somebody comes along or the information comes along that the rest of it becomes so much fucking easier than what we've just told ourselves is going to take us 2 years or 6 months or whatever to do on our own. You get that bit? Does that make sense? So if you got this download that if you had your journal finished and now you're in that process of going, oh my God, I have to put it out into the world, and what are people going to think and what are people going to say and all the rest. And your intuition, you went, hold on, I have to step out of this identity and I'm just going to trust and tune into my intuition and see what my next step is. And your intuition says, take it to such and such because they've produced a book before or published a book before. And you go, okay, I never thought about that. I'll go and take it to them. And you take it to them and they go, oh, such and such has just told me that they've got room for new publishers or new authors or whatever, and I'll send it in for you. So,
See, that's not what's stopping me.
right?
It's the real life practical shit.
Yes, but the other real life practical shit is that when we think we have to do it on our own, then you end up juggling 5 million things, and that's the overwhelm, not the thing that you want to create. So this is then where we get to, one, be in intention, be in integrity with ourselves, but also we realize that we're actually going to have to delegate. We're actually going to have to say no to things. We're actually going to have to start bringing in a certain amount of, like Rachel was talking about, those boundaries for ourselves, depending on how much we really, really want to create the thing. Does that make sense? So, like, for instance, so say you have a deadline for your journal.
Yep.
Do you have a deadline?
A vague one of this fall. So, like, I've done things like delegate some of the scout stuff, got rid of a horrible client and said, no, I'm not doing that. So that once school goes in 2 weeks, I have time to focus. And yes, I have lots of busy things too, but I've cleared up some space because it's going to get done.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And I want you to remind yourself that that's what you're doing as well, Gwen, because a lot of the times when we put ourselves under pressure, we go into an old story of not finishing, not completing, and tell ourselves that we're useless or whatever, all of those stories. So when you are like doing the things that are creating space for you to create the thing, then like, remind yourself you're doing a fucking amazing job, because it means you are changing those things. You're changing your behavior, you're changing your beliefs. You're going, fuck it, I'm gonna do it no matter what happens. I know that's the attitude that you have as well.
Pretty much. I mean, I turned 50 and fuck it year.
And Gwen, I just want to share, because Rachel wasn't on the call last week, but one of Gwen's epiphanies last week was that she doesn't have to fix everybody. She doesn't have to fix everything else that's going on as well. That's not her job. Like, that frees up a lot of time, doesn't it, Gwen?
Frees up a lot of energy.
Yes. Definitely. Rachel, how did it feel for you?
Oh, Bernie.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
You know, when you said about you tell people that you're going to do it, and you tell your kids and you tell your family, and you hope that other people are going to, you know, spread it around, it just brought up for me this idea that I think I've never really thought about, which is that my mom is this way where you just say something and you're amazing. So I think I get really in like, okay, I'm gonna tell some people about Alta Loon, and they're like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. And I'm like, I know I have such a good idea. And then it's almost like that's enough. Like,
Yeah,
I don't feel
it's
like I
like,
have to
I've
get
done
any
it.
further. Yeah. And that's so fucking stupid. And I think that that's what it comes from, that mentality of like, you know, my mom will be like, oh, you're so amazing. I'll be like, Mom, I haven't done anything. Well, it doesn't matter. We think that you're the most amazing person in the world. And it's like, well, but I'm actually haven't earned that yet. And I think I was just kind of taught that way my whole life.
Yeah.
So the
And
idea
that's
of like,
program. It's not that it's stupid. It's just you don't recognize that it's even happening, because it's plugged in already into your unconscious programming.
so I'm just not
And
sure
then a
how to
lot of
get
people
past
will
that stuff.
overcompensate for all of that, like, rewarding kind of behavior, because, as you said, like, they might go, well, I haven't earned it, so now I have to go and earn it.
Yeah.
And we get into that place of being super busy and over helping, people pleasing, doing everything for everybody else, and not doing the creative thing that we actually had that amazing idea with at the beginning, because we're flat out trying to, like, pay somebody back for telling us we're amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how to bridge that part, but I feel like that when you said that, I was like, gosh, yeah. So I think that's the part that holds me back from taking the next step, is feeling
And
like
that,
just
do you know what? That's the first step, Rachel. It's recognizing the pattern. We can't change anything if we don't see it. If we don't recognize it, if we don't understand it, if we don't go, so when this happens and I do this and then this happens, now I fucking see it. But if
Yeah.
you don't see that unconscious pattern, and that's part of why I gave you the list of the 12 wounds and belief systems, is because when you see it, even if it's not in exactly the same words that is in your head, the fact that you recognize it and you acknowledge it makes you go, okay, I can't unsee it, because now I know that it's a program or a pattern that I have. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not wrong, it's not anything. It's just something that has been programmed into you, and it doesn't mean that it's even yours.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
not.
other thing, Malka, is that I want you to understand. A lot of the, like, from the epigenetic side of things, is that a lot of our belief systems is handed down through our DNA. Not ours. 7 generations, up to 7 generations. Woohoo! Yay!
Which for a Jew means you have the whole entire history. 7 generations. You might as well be carrying the whole entire people on your back.
Yeah, I know, exactly. You're like, what? If you look at your family tree, you go, Thanks, ancestors. We get all the good wisdom too, but we are here to sort out the crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question that it might be a little bit of a non sequitur, but it still is.
Go ahead.
I think it still is germane to this particular point of the conversation.
Yeah.
So when in the second module, when you were talking about the 12 wounds,
Yeah.
that was really eye-opening to me. And ever since then I've been thinking about like just like stepping beyond that. And but it feels really weird. Is that just because I'm unused to because I'm so used to living my life in the shadow of all of it's I see it almost as like some sort of huge mechanism of like endless mechanism of pipes and gears and and I see that as like the identity that I created for myself because like I mentioned in the group, I have all of those. I am an overachiever. I have all 12 of those. So yeah, is it like I'm just wanting to know if this feeling is good or if this feeling, it's excitement, but it's also kind of like, oh shit.
Yeah, of course it is. Because you're questioning your identity that has been handed to you. And you're going, so what happens if I step away and out of that? That's that part. That's the unplug from your old identity. That's, you have to hold that kind of like, miracle that you understand it's an identity. It's not you. It is just all of these patterns and things that were created that we took on and put on like a big coat and said, hey, this is me, Malka, from when I was age 3 till right now. And you're like, but this coat is old and feels horrible and uncomfortable and I don't want to wear it anymore. And there's something new over there and I want to try that on. And it's that feeling of, you mean I can take this off and I don't have to wear it and that I can choose to wear something else and be somebody else? Of course it's going to be exciting and a little bit like trepidation and going, ah! But also you get to choose what you take on, what you want to create with a new identity. Like that whole idea of not having a past, you can fucking, like, that's, think about people like Madonna and all of these people who have like rebranded themselves. They've just gone, nope, that's not me anymore. I'm going to be this version of me right now. Lady Gaga, fucking Beyonce. Like that is the idea that we can just go, do you know what? I've grown out of it. It's not me anymore. This is who I am right now. Does that make sense? I always go back to the fucking rock stars and singers. Like, it's just so much easier. That makes sense, Rachel. I can see a difference in your energy, Malka. Rachel's like, yeah. Can you see it, Rachel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. It's you want to know what's funny though is that yesterday I was, through a whole set of circumstances which I'm not going to enumerate here because it doesn't matter and it would take too long. I was driving a car that was not my own. Mm-hmm. And I ended up rear-ending somebody, just like very slightly.
Right.
But yeah, it's weird because I'm choosing, I'm trying to very consciously choose to stay out of the space of like, oh my God, the world is ending. Even though it's scary because I don't, the woman that she seems reasonable, the woman who I ran into. Like, she seems reasonable, but I don't know. But yeah, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but
But this is
yeah,
how we manifest it. Like we can create a vision for ourselves that everything's going to be okay because there are some really good people in the world, and that this is an experience where you learn I have to pay more attention, or whatever it is that you decide to learn from the experience. And you don't make the experience that now I don't want to get into a car or I don't trust people. It's now you've just learned something from that experience.
right. And I was thinking that to myself last night too. I was it was so interesting because I thought to myself, I I actually had the thought, you know, I could go into the story of this is God punishing me for trying to do something different. But I thought, but then I actually thought to myself, fuck that. Why do I want to perpetuate that?
Yeah.
And I thought,
And if
no, you
anything,
know what?
it's you punishing yourself and using God as a scapegoat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought, okay, that is not the lesson that I'm going to take from this. And this made me really uncomfortable. I said, you know what? Maybe this is the universe giving me an opportunity to manifest something really good out of a shitty situation.
Yes. Yes, Malka. That little just switch in perspective will completely change how you approach fucking anything that we can either make really bad or horrendous or wrong or whatever. And just go, do you know what? I can take a lesson out of this, and maybe it's for my good because the next thing that comes along, I have learned something. I know something more about myself. I know better. Or I might not go into a certain situation because of this one. I want to quickly just finish off before we do finish off in the creative structure, ladies, okay? So in the creative structure, this is where we have the tension releasing part of it, Rachel. So this is where we say, this is I'm here, this is my current reality, and this is my desired reality. And in between, I can fail, I can fuck up, I can get it wrong, things might be like, not happen for the next 6 months, whatever it might be. I'm willing for all of this to be a reality for me to get here, but also I want it. So this is the energy, and this is what I'm going to start creating in regards to listening to my intuition. I'm going to start plugging into my intuition. I'm going to start taking aligned action. I'm going to take aligned action that is in integrity with myself, even more importantly. This is where I get to be uncomfortable only for the fact that all of these things are new to me and they're not wrong. I'm not going to label them as anything other than they're just new. That's why it feels uncomfortable. I'm not going to skip back into my self-sabotaging mode because this feels uncomfortable or I feel resistance to it right now. And also I have to hold this belief that it's possible, because why would you want to create it otherwise? So I'm going to tell you a little quick story. A lady who I'm coaching personally at the minute, she is a business owner and she wants to create something that's completely away from her business. And what she wants to do is create this big celebration, because we celebrate Halloween over here big time, like it's a whole week festival thing. And she wants to create this kind of like witchy extravaganza that is completely out of her comfort zone. She hasn't done it on this size or scale before. And she really wants to, like, she's so overexcited about it. And in her mind, this is what she said when I said, you're like, how does it feel? Like, what is it that's really motivating you to create this? Like, how is it going to feel at the end result? And she said, I want people to have like the most amazing experience at this, that they're going to buy tickets for next year as soon as it's finished. And I want the people who didn't get to go to have complete and utter FOMO that they didn't book the tickets. And since the last time I talked to her, and I talked to her yesterday, and I haven't talked to her for a week, she has the menu and she has two of the starters and the desserts already organized. She has the musicians all booked. She has the venue booked. She has people saying yes, left, right, and center. And she hasn't paid for anything yet because she's going on the energy of this excitement that this is what she's creating. And she's just listening to her intuition, thinking about, like, you know, who might be the person, and if she gets that insight or that drop of who it is, then she'll go to them, and everybody has said yes. Within a week. So now that as people are saying yes, her vision is becoming clearer and clearer, because now she doesn't have to do as much work because all these people are saying yes. Can you see how that starts working for you rather than you in that place of your logical mind going, there's like 10 steps for this and I'm going to have to do every fucking one of them myself. And I'm not an expert at this, and this isn't my forte, and I'm not skilled at this. And you can see how it slows it down and how it leaves space for then all of these little fucking sabotaging voices to come in and try and trip you up, try and trigger you, try and tell you it's not that important, really, is it? You don't really want it, do you? How bad do you want it? Because this is going to be hard. Or it can be easy. And you dial it up into using your intuition and your conscious self and not letting the unconscious get anywhere near it. How's that sound? So I'm going to drop in next week, I'm going to drop in a little exercise that's going to help you understand how to let the unconscious step out of the way, how to unplug from that. Because you've had a lot of information today. I'm not going to give you too much more. But I really want you to understand that this is a process that is just like that little video that I put in, where your brain can create all these new little neural pathways. You can create those new pathways through the forest and let the old ones overgrow.
I'm going to Salem next week.
So cool.
For like 7 days.
So, Rachel, have you been there before?
No, but Sam and I are going on a historic witch retreat with a group, and I cannot wait.
Wicked.
That sounds really amazing. So are you going with like a prearranged tour?
Not a tour, but a group.
Oh, okay. Well, if you don't mind me, you didn't ask for me to to give you my opinion, but I went there a number of years ago and I was colossally disappointed by the museums.
Mm-hmm.
So
What
I
about the
think
energy?
I was just gonna say I recommend going to like the old cemeteries there and
Now we're doing a cemetery.
okay, yeah, because I enjoyed like the cemeteries more. It's the museums were I found them a little horrifying, to be honest. They were just really like I felt like they were trying to capitalize on the sensationalism of it, and I was heartbroken and offended for all of the people that died in the witch trials, because I just felt like it was the people trying to profit off of, so I don't
Museums that I remember touring with you that is less of the sensationalism and more of the actual connected into the whole human side of it.
I'm going with someone who's done tours there for 11 years, and she knows all the local witches And we're like going to a broom making factory, and we're seeing historical sites too, but I don't think we had any museums on the list. And she's very against the like stereotypical Salem tour. Like we're getting a reading by someone who's owns one of the oldest witch stores in Salem, and yeah.
Okay, that's good. I think you're far less likely to be disappointed then, because I left.
You can get the tour name after Rachel comes back.
Right? Like I want to actually go back to Sarah, because when we left, I said to myself, I'm just like, this is so I said to my friend, this is so depressing. I feel like I want to sit on the ground and cry for all the people who died, you know?
Yeah, that's probably not a good tour then. Right, ladies, do we have any questions before we finish up?
Nope.
We all good. Okay, I want you to share just one takeaway, one positive takeaway that you're gonna step into and use this week. Rachel.
I'm looking at the clutter on my desk right now and the bills and the things I can't pay. And I'm gonna attack this pile and organize it so I can put it aside, whether I can pay it or not, but I can organize it and put it aside so it doesn't feel like a stopping block to me, so I can start thinking about what massive action I'm gonna take towards my company.
Yeah. So here's a good little practice. Pretend you don't have any past and look at all those pieces of paper of what you can and what you can't do. Put your cans in one, put your cans in the other, and that's the easiest way to start shifting them and moving them. Don't let any little voices creep into your head.
Except yours. Right? Yours, except yours.
Except mine. Gwen, what is your takeaway, my love, from even this week with the modules as well, but from the call?
From my call was my side trip. I realized how much, like, I've hit that circle. I always end up back broke. I grew up in a family where being poor and looking poor was wrong, and you were nothing. And I pretty much have the fuck you, mom. I can be poor and successful and fantastic, and I'm letting go of that identity. I do not need that anymore. I can get out of this, oh crap, I can't make ends meet again cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And still be successful and valuable and all those things, but yeah, let go of this. Screw you, mom. I'm doing the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I did very well as
watch
a
me
teenager.
be somebody in something completely different, because this is what I want to be. I'm not avoiding it. I'm actually just creating something completely different.
Yeah. So that's the identity I'm unplugging.
Fabulous, Gwen. Love it, love it, love it. Malka, my love, what about you?
I just really like the whole thought exercise of if I had no past. And I think I think I have been feeling my life shifting. I think also it's because I got back on I got better drugs. No, I actually just started a prescription that I was on, but whatever. So yeah. Anyway, in short, the what would I do if I had no past? Because I think that is, I can see how that's useful in creating a different identity. An identity
and
that
also just a different outcome in how you approach something.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, it doesn't have to be as complicated as your identity right in every situation. Like, as I just said to Rachel, it's like just the next task, instead of all those voices and, like, resistance and procrastination getting in the way, just go, what if I didn't have a pass? What would I do now with this thing that I'm going to do? And do it that way instead. See how that feels. See how that works out for you. Ladies, thank you so much for showing up. I will put I'm downloading this this call as well, so it's going to be on YouTube as well, so that it won't just disappear off Zoom, that it's actually there as part of the modules as well. Have a fabulous nearly weekend, and yeah, we'll be doing, there's no call next week, so we'll be going into the next modules and the next part of creating the thing in the life that you love next month. So have a fabulous one, and Rachel, have a fabulous time in Taylor.
Thank you.
Bye everybody, thank you. I love
Bye
you.
guys.